Are we gonna hit 1 million or what, man? Come on.
Oh yeah, like for sure. We're gonna hit 1 million and more. I don't know when. I don't know what the timeline is for that, but we'll definitely hit that. But what excites me more is defunding the psychopaths that run the world. You learn a lot more from your failures than your success. You know? It sucks, right? Like, you know, when you're a success, like, I'm the shit, you know? Like,
That's
blah,
so true.
you know? But real growth happens when you fail.
Yeah, bro.
Like, you learn a lot from your failures,
Yeah.
you know? And embrace that. Like, embrace the failure.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed. Like, don't feel shame. Like, don't
Yeah.
put yourself down. Like, be gentle with yourself. Love yourself. Like, okay, it's okay to fail. It's
Yeah,
okay to, but try, keep trying. Because you learn more, and look, one day you won't fail.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Conversations with Industry Experts. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most discussed, debated, and often misunderstood forces in the modern world, cryptocurrency. Please welcome my dear friend, Zeid Bataineh. Today, he'll share exactly where he believes the entire space is headed, and especially if you do not know anything about cryptocurrency, consider this your perfect front row seat to understanding the future of money with one of the sharpest guides you can ask for. I want to thank you so much for your time to connect with me here, man. I hope you're doing well. And where are you right now in the world? Where are you?
I'm in Dubai, man.
Nice.
Dubai. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
They call Dubai the crypto city of the world. Is that correct?
They say a lot of things. You know, they say a lot of things. How close to it to reality, I'll beg to differ, but yeah. It's one of for sure. But definitely gets one thing Dubai does really well is marketing, and I think there's a lot of amplification of what Dubai actually is. Definitely, it's one of for sure. But like once you dig down to like what's actually happening, like it's a lot less than people think. But it's something for sure. Like it's a growing city. It's like a bustling city. A lot's going on, but it's a lot less than what the perception is. Yeah.
So you think there's a hype to it? There's too much of a hype, but once you're there, you probably realize it's not as hype as how it really is.
Absolutely, yeah. Like especially on this crypto thing, for example, like 3-4 years ago, they did this huge PR announcement that we launched the first regulatory entity that's specifically for crypto. It's called the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. And we launched it. It's the first of its kind. No one else is doing it. Every other country's trying to regulate crypto using the old regulatory agencies and stuff. And like Dubai is the first to do it. And His Highness tweeted about it. This whole thing. There was no entity. There was just like a paper that says the entity shall be created.
Wow.
So between that and and then and so many companies moved here based on that press release.
Oh yeah, yeah, true.
And they moved here and they got offices and everything. Then they went to get the license and they're like, actually, we're still figuring that part out. You know,
it's like people are rushing. They're rushing to want to get things rolling, but the components and the structure is not really there.
Yeah, now it is. It is. But I'm talking 4 years ago when it first became the crypto city of the world. It wasn't so much, but yeah, now it is.
Well, talking about crypto, I have some questions, and we know how today what we're standing is always somewhat different from yesterday, and it's so volatile because unlike the stock market where you have blue stocks and these safe stocks where they don't really explode up and down, you can play around with it. But when you look at crypto and Bitcoin, it's so extreme and so volatile that you don't know how to really invest and how you've secured you really are. So today, as we are recording this video, we're in the month of February 2026. And with the first question that I wanted to ask you, let's start with how Bitcoin is doing. And as of today, are we officially in a bear market?
It seems so. The thing is with Bitcoin and crypto is that and I'm going to separate for the purposes of this conversation. I think we should separate between Bitcoin and crypto. Even though they move in tandem right now, I think that's mostly as a result of what people think they are as opposed to what they actually are. because Bitcoin has very different properties to every other crypto. So, but for this purpose, I'm just going to say Bitcoin for the Rasad, and then I'll separate when need be.
Okay.
Bitcoin is the only free market in the world. We should preface this conversation with that. For example, if right now something happens, like Trump decides to, bomb Iran or whatever, and the stock market plunges more than 5 or 10%. I don't know exactly what the number is. They'll just switch off trading.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. No more trading today. Everyone's obviously very emotional. Go back, take the weekend, and come back on Monday. Whereas Bitcoin is 24/7, 365. No one can stop it. So it's moving. It's moving, and markets are a reflection of people, and people are emotional, and people are scared right now. There's so much uncertainty in the world. You have, I think, what we're going through right now. The history books will look back at it as a very pivotal time, because we're going through a new monetary world order. We're going through a new monetary regime. So I'll do a brief, I'll step back a little bit, and so to put all the audience in the right frame of mind, or in a frame of mind that just so you can understand what's going on now. So in since World War II, right? The U.S. has been we've lived in a unipolar world. It's been the U.S. ruling the whole everything, and Western allies just doing their bidding. They're not really sovereign or anything. They're just doing their bidding. They listen to the U.S. on everything.
Right.
The U.S. dollar was the reserve currency, and U.S. bonds were the reserve asset. Meaning, since World War II, the U.S. The whole world was forced to conduct trade using U.S. dollars. This is what the petrodollar is. So all oil moves everything. Oil is the engine, the grease that moves the whole world economy. All the oil has to be transacted in dollars.
Wow.
Right? So that created a demand for dollars. It's called the petrodollar system. It was installed in 1971. So that created this demand for dollars. So with that, you always have something so US dollars was always in demand by other countries. For example, even now, me in UAE, in Dubai, if I want to send to Saudi Arabia, if I want to send money to Saudi Arabia, I cannot just send dirhams or riyals to Saudi Arabia.
Dollars.
What happens is it goes from dirham to dollars, from dollars to another dollar, so to my correspondent US bank, to their correspondent US banks, and then switch back to riyals. Okay? So that created all this demand, this artificial demand for dollars.
Yeah.
Coupled that with globalization, where US and the whole West outsourced their manufacturing to the East, to China, to India, etc. So now nothing is manufactured in the West. In the US, very few things are manufactured, but all the heavy industry, all the stuff, everything's made in China, everything's made in India, everything, Taiwan, etc. So you've had for the past 50 years, this trend where you just, the US effectively exported dollars in exchange for goods. Right? This has been happening for 70 years now, right? And so when these countries got these dollars, what would they do with them? They would plow them into US bonds and US stocks. That's why US stocks are always going up. That's why US bonds used to be called the risk-free rate. You can just park it there. It's the safest thing ever. It's backed by the might of the US, of the United States government. Of course, unless you're not friends with the US government. So if you're Iran, for example, you've been sanctioned for the past 20 years. You're not allowed to use the SWIFT. You're not allowed to do any trade with anyone. That's why they only trade with China, because China is the only one who has the balls to trade with them. Because what's the US going to do? They tell China not to buy oil from Iran? They can't do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah. So you have this whole thing. So now, so the US, so that was okay when it was just one rogue state or considered rogue state. But then in 2014, the US decided to seize all of Russia's assets. Russia had a lot of US assets. Okay? And when it did that, China and Russia were like, okay, interesting. we're no longer going to park our excess dollars in your bond market or in your equities market. We're going to start buying gold. And since then, they've been buying gold. And they've been buying a lot of gold. And now, since for the first time in 30 years, foreign central banks own more gold than US bonds, than US debt. Okay? And that's what we're seeing now. It's a whole new thing where, like, it's no longer khalas, no longer a unipolar world. We're starting to see the rise of China, Russia, India, the whole BRICS nation, etc. So there's a massive, like, shift in capital.
Clearly.
Capital is moving. And all this uncertainty, the result of it is they're going to the historically safe haven asset, which is gold. That's why gold is ripping. That's why gold's at all-time high.
Correct.
And for the time being, Bitcoin, going back to the original point, is still clubbed into other crypto, and it's seen as a tech investment by the market, even though it's not. Okay, like if you and we can talk about this later. Bitcoin itself is a very different asset class, but it's very much misunderstood. Like, I'm speaking from my experience. Out of every 10 people I know, maybe one person understands Bitcoin. Maybe. Much less than that, actually.
When you say Bitcoin separating from, like, blockchain and like
yes,
all the other stable coins, you're saying Bitcoin as the mother, the actual Bitcoin and what it does, the power of it. I sometimes, as much as I think I know about it, I feel like I have no idea sometimes, although I've been investing and holding Bitcoin since 2016. And
it's actually a very simple distinction. Whereas Bitcoin is actually a fully decentralized cryptocurrency. Like the founder of Bitcoin, or the inventor of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, a guy or a girl, who knows, or a group of people who called themselves Satoshi Nakamoto. No one knows who he is. He remained anonymous because he knew.
Right? You heard the recent?
I heard.
What?
Oh, we can go into that. Like, I've done the deep dive on that. It's
you did your homework.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it's not.
Not.
But yeah. But like, the thing is, this is the weird part. Even if it is, it doesn't matter. Because it's open source code.
Yeah.
The invention is invention. It's like, for example, it's like saying, was the inventor of fire like a pedophilic rapist? Even if he was, you're still gonna use fire.
Yeah, the show must go on.
Yeah, like, it's a utility. No, because it delivers a utility. It's an actual invention that has a very important purpose. So correct. Bitcoin, like, if I want to, like, very quickly just say why Bitcoin is different, is that because the founder, like, just once it started working, once he, like, pressed play on the software and blocks started coming out and miners started coming onto the network and network effects happen, and now you have, like, thousands and tens of thousands of nodes and mines, etc. He's like, okay, it works now. I need to bounce, and he just disappeared. No one knows who he is, etc. So it's a system of rules without rulers. This is very important. So no one can change the code of Bitcoin. No one can change the rules of Bitcoin.
Yeah. The coding for it. It's
open source. It's fixed. Like, someone can propose changes, but over 50% of the network participants need to approve for it to be implemented. And even if 50% do approve, etc., and you don't, you can still run the old software and keep it. It's like a software update. Like, let's say Apple, like, does a software updates. Like, you know what? This new software update is going to spy on you. And click here to agree. It's like, no, disagree. Decline. I'm going to stay on the old one that doesn't spy on me.
You can do that.
Yeah, you can always do that. And that's what Bitcoin... And that's a very important difference, because every other cryptocurrency is not that. Every other cryptocurrency has founders. They can change the code. They can change the law anytime they want. The properties of it, etc. So they're very different. They're fundamentally very different. Where I see Bitcoin more as a utility, open source utility, and other stuff and other cryptocurrencies are something else. They're trying to be something else.
And the best part of what you said, it's decentralized. And the fact that it can't be manipulated. And when it's recorded and it's there, it's done. And the history shows and all the record is there and clear. But what the hell happened in this last couple of weeks when we were sitting over 125K and it just suddenly dropped almost to half, and now we're sitting at, what are we today? Sitting at 70K. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's a wild ride. Like, the upending the financial system is not going to be a smooth ride. It's going to be a bumpy ride all the way to the top. And it's not this is nothing new to Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Bitcoin has dropped over 50% 10 different times in its history. Okay. We haven't even reached 50% of this one.
Wow.
But it could drop more. But it's dropped from 30 cents to 3 cents. And it's dropped from $300 to $3. And it's jumped from 17,000 to 3,000. And then from 70,000 to 15,000. And now we're dropping from 125 to 70.
And when you look at, but at the same time, if we compare to the previous years, despite that sudden drop, we're still in the best position ever in history of Bitcoin, considering the fact of where it stands today. We're still good. You know what I mean? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So?
Oh yeah. I think the case for it has never been stronger or more clear. What Bitcoin solves, I think it's important to establish because when you talk about an invention or a startup, they ask you what problem are you trying to solve, and what is the problem you're trying to solve. And with Bitcoin, the title of the Bitcoin white paper is peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Okay, so it's going after money. All right, and that's a very entrenched technology that everyone uses.
That's true.
But almost no one understands.
Yeah.
No one understands the story of money. Actually, that was what I just came from a workshop, and that was the first 15 minutes of the workshop is just me explaining what money is. And maybe, if you don't mind, should I just do it? Can I say it here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what is money? I'm not talking about finance. We need to separate money from finance. All right. So back in the day, we were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
Everything was fine. Chilling, small communities, and we would barter. Okay, and barter worked up to a certain scale. But as we grew, you run into something called the double coincidence of wants. Let's say I'm a fisherman, you're a butcher. If you want fish and I want meat, great, we can trade. But if I want something else and you want fish, then we have this issue. We can't trade because you don't want what I'm providing, but I want what you're providing. So we have to find a third person in the community, or a fourth person, or a fifth person. So what emerged naturally, is a need for a medium of exchange. Right? So you put in work. You're a butcher. So you're working all day, etc. At the end of the day, you want something to hold your time and energy. So you can exchange it for something else, for food, for shelter, buying something nice for your little, for your wife, whatever, so that's the point of money.
Correct.
Being think of it as an economic battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we started trying out many things as money. We tried seashells, we tried seeds, we tried salt. The word salarium comes from the Latin of salt, because salt was used as a salary for a while. People got paid in salt.
So, okay. Is that right? I did not know that.
Yeah, so we use so many different things, commodities, as money. But they all failed for the exact same reason. It's because you can make more of them very easily. So they lose their value. So when it was salt, someone could find a salt mine or whatever and just come and salt's not a scarce thing.
Yeah.
Same with sea salt. Same with seashells.
Yeah.
Or seeds or whatever. So we started looking for something that's more difficult, harder to find. Okay, so we started looking at metals. We started using copper. We had the whole copper age for a while. Then we started using silver, and then thousands of years ago, the whole world settled on gold.
Gold, yeah.
And not because yellow is mankind's favorite color. Okay? And not because it was used in jewelry. It's because it was scarce. It was the most scarce thing. And that scarcity gave it value. Okay, and it preserved value for a while. So people started working and getting paid in gold, so they can exchange it for later.
For something for diamonds as well, right?
No, because diamonds like are too scarce, or they were. Okay, now with how this, but the whole world settled on gold. Okay, and think of it. This happened before. Yeah, even they weren't communicating. Southern America, the Mayans weren't communicating with the pharaohs. Weren't communicating with tribes in Africa. Weren't communicating with, tribes in Russia. But they all started using gold.
Gold as a means of exchange.
Yeah, not because they agreed. Like they had a conference and agreed, like, you know what, let's use gold. There wasn't a Zoom call where they agreed on that. There's physical properties to gold that make it a good money.
Yeah.
And that was gold for thousands of years, up until we got to this century, where now commerce was happening much faster. You had the telecoms boom, like in the telegraph, etc. So now, like, you're conducting trade very fast, like at the speed of light. Okay, but moving the money was very slow. So, like, gold is heavy, difficult to divide, etc. So you started having this system where, like, the hawala system, where, like, you'd go, let's say you're doing trade between Amman, where we're from, and Damascus, or Jerusalem. Let's say between Jerusalem and Damascus. Right. Instead of, like, if you want to go trade, instead of carrying all your gold with you, if you want to go, like, from Jerusalem to Damascus, instead of carrying all your gold with you, because it's risky, it's there's security issues there, and you have to carry it. It's heavy. You can't really hide it really well. Yeah. So you deposit it somewhere in a network bank. Let's call it a bank for now. Okay. And then they give you a note, a promissory note. Like, this is how much gold you have here. You'd go there, and he'd give you some gold based on that deposit note. And then between them, they settled between those banks. And that's what happened throughout the world. Everyone started depositing their gold, and paper money was invented. It's just more practical to carry around, etc.
The fiat.
But no, before the fiat. Okay. This was gold-backed notes, promissory notes. Very important distinction. Good. These were claims on your gold in the vault.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a contract that confirms that you have gold in this financial bank.
Exactly.
And it confirms it.
Exactly. Okay. And that's what the first paper money was. But then the banks were like, what are the chances that everyone's going to come and ask for the gold at the same time? We don't have to keep 100% of the gold as reserves. We'll keep 90.
And the other 10.
And like, so like, so like, even like if like, 90% of people come and ask for their gold, we'll be fine, which is very unlikely. Like, no one's coming to ask for the gold. Everyone's using these paper because they're very convenient. They solve an issue, which is like gold is very difficult to transport and very difficult to divide as well. So it's just an easy, much more practical way of transacting. And then, like, that 90 became 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, until 1971, something called the Nixon shock happened, where Richard Nixon just said, you know what? Screw it. No more. Like, the dollar is no longer backed by gold. It's no longer redeemable to gold. And since then, there's a great website called WTF Happened in 1971.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
I got
WTF Happened. That. Yeah. This one is a great website. Like, this one, it's a very important website because that is one of the pivotal moments of human history. Okay? Because when you look at that page, WTF happened in 1971. This is the birth of fiat. Fiat is Latin for let it be. That's what fiat means. Let it be. All of a sudden, politicians have the power to create money out of thin air.
Wow.
And guess what they did with that money, with that power? They created a shit ton of money. And that's what they've been doing since 1971. Just unlimited printing.
Printing.
This is 2026. We are, the technological progress in the past 150 years is incredible. Industrial revolution, tech, all this stuff, telecoms, etc. Yet, the world is 400% debt to GDP ratio.
How? Easy.
That's nuts.
We abused it.
Because when you give
We
someone,
gave too much.
yeah, we print too much every time. Like every government's running a deficit. Every single government. The U.S. like
37 trillion.
38 now. It increases like by 2 trillion a year,
What
and it's
the-
accelerating. All right, so that's what's great. That's why everything's getting more expensive. That's why everyone thinks inflation, and they blame and you listen to the news this is like the Putin price hike or like some stupid thing like that, or like the tension in the Middle East is like spiking up prices. Like, no, dude, you keep printing more money. It's as simple as that, really. It's really as simple as that.
So I feel like the government. I feel like the United States government is so aware of what you're talking about, and they're very strategically trying to bring down this deficit that they're in so bad. With Donald Trump's entrepreneurial mindset, forget his political and foreign views. That's but you can't deny the fact that he is a businessman, and he is smart to know exactly how to negotiate things and to make money. And I think that what he is doing now, in compared to all of the previous presidents and the position of power, I feel like he is planning on doing something really different with the US dollar and the fiat, and convert it into some kind of digital asset. And he is saying that we want the United States to be the crypto capital of the world, and if we don't do it, then China and Russia will do it. China,
China.
Yeah. So what do you thought about that?
I think he's gonna try. He's trying, but like they're in a debt spiral now. There's no way out. There's no way out of this. They okay. Just like a basic math. They have like their tax receipts. This is the highest tax rate they've had in history, in their history. It's maximum, like I think the most they've accumulated was like around 4 trillion. Like I'm not exactly precise with the numbers, like could be 4.2 or something. Their expenses are 6 trillion a year this year. And their expenses are growing, and they're going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Because they had so much debt. You know how much they spend on their military usually? Their military budget is 1 trillion. 1 trillion a year. Okay? And he just announced a month ago that he's going to expand it to 1.5 trillion. Just a 50% increase. Just like that. Okay?
It's crazy.
Do you know how much they're spending on interest on their loans? Only because like they're 38 trillion in debt, right? There's interest to be paid to that.
Behind that financing,
1.1 trillion. Just interest. So like 1.1 plus 1.5, there you go, that's 2.5. Okay? That's just nothing. You haven't spent you haven't paid anyone, you haven't paid your social security, your Medicare, your all that stuff. Like there's no way out. There's no way out.
And Americans are the ones that have to pay the price?
America and the whole world, because everyone's like, we accept now. It's a crazy thing, honestly. And when you grok this, when you actually grok this, like we accept the fact that prices rise. Like, do you remember when we were in school, how much we used to spend? Like, we'd go out with friends. Like, do you remember like how much?
Dollars, man. Nothing more than 10, $20.
Yeah, like something like that. And like, when we were young, our parents would tell us, "Oh man, when we would go out, we'd take 10 rush, like 15 cents,
that's
10
it.
cents." And like, I'd go to the cinema, I'd go to dinner, blah blah blah. What happened?
Inflation.
Why is everything gets more expensive? It's simply because there's more money in the system. That's it.
Rolling around.
It's just sloshing around. You know, it's like when you're playing Monopoly. Every round, let's say every round, you throw a wad of cash in. Everyone's property is going to expand. Everyone's going to rise in price, you know?
Yeah.
And your $1 or one hat is going to just buy you less and less and less.
The value drops because they're just printing and printing and printing, and they're not respecting the system.
And you know why that's a very insidious and very evil thing? Because when they do that, they are stealing your time and energy. You're supposed to be able to like save into you work, so you can like going back to like what Bitcoin is trying to solve is that this scarcity, like was you want to save, like it's your economic battery. You work time and energy, and you want to save it. Yeah, and that's all you want to do, so you can spend it later. But your money is a melting ice cube. That's why no one keeps their cash in the bank or keep like if you had $100,000, would you just leave it there? No, because
No,
you
of
know that
course.
$100,000 now, in 5 years or 10 years, is going to buy you a lot less. If there's an apartment that you like now, that's the studio apartment, let's say $100,000.
Hmm.
In 5-10 years, it's going to be worth $200,000-300,000. Not because the apartment miraculously got improved. No, it's already built. But there's just more money in the system, and they're always going to continue to get more expensive. And that's where Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin solves. If you're measuring it in Bitcoin terms, actually everything is getting less expensive.
Yeah, but here's the thing about what you just said, Zaid, because here's the question: if many people are afraid of losing their crypto, then what is the simplest, most important steps to keep it safe, considering the fact that there's so many ways that you can be scammed? How do you protect it?
That's a very good question, and I think it's a lot easier now than it was. And like everything else, you just have to put in the work. I think now there's so many more practical tools and wallets that are super user friendly. Like it's no longer just like back in the day where like you have to be a programmer or something to understand this, and it's like the MS DOS framework, portfolio. No, like now like there's apps, there's even hardware wallets. There's like an app, etc. That's super easy to use. Some of them, like one of the best ones that I've found that I give everyone as your intro to self custody. It's called BitKey. You don't even have a seed phrase. Yeah, you don't even have a seed phrase. It's no seed phrase. Like you don't even have to write those 12 or 24 words. It's just an app and a device, and super easy to use.
Yeah, but then isn't that a security tool to protect it even more? Wouldn't you be willing to go for that extra layer of security to ensure
if you're comfortable with it, for sure. I give this this is an intro.
Yeah,
it's still a hardware wallet.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's still a hardware wallet. It's a 2 out of 3 key system. So like there's a key on the hardware wallet. There's a key on your phone. There's a key with the company.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay? And you need 2 of them. So if you lose your phone, you can still retrieve it with your hardware wallet and the company. And if you lose your hardware wallet, you can still retrieve it with your phone and the company.
How good is Ledger?
Yeah, also like Ledger. Yeah, Ledger is also solid. All these. There's so many good options right now, and it's just about really like doing time. Like everyone say, "Oh, it's too complicated." It just tells me that like you haven't really. Have you like spent like 2 hours trying to understand it, or like if you have, then it's not that complicated. It's really not. But there's no shortcut around it. You need to practice it, put in the time, so you're just familiar with the interface, transfer some money in and out. Just feel comfortable with using Bitcoin addresses, etc. Like it's really just a practice thing.
Correct. That's very true, and I think that using those digital wallets are extremely important, and not to just leave your funds in an exchange platform, because those exchange platforms can get security breached. They can be hacked, and you never know that there might be a Ponzi scheme like we've seen with other ones.
Absolutely.
So I learned my lesson as well. Like I've been in this for a while, so there has been moments where I've been scammed also, and I've been easily victimized, and I don't know, like you can easily fall in that trap. So people like yourself must educate the new users and the ones that are still trying to understand crypto on the right steps on how to secure, how to invest wisely, and to do it smart. And that's why a lot of people are moving away from traditional banking to crypto companies. And in simple terms, what does crypto do that traditional banks can't do? And that's something I'm trying to explain to like baby boomers. I'm having conversations with people a little bit elder that are very traditional mindset. And I'm like, well, don't you know that a lot of people are shifting now out from this traditional banking and they're going into crypto companies? But don't just go to any crypto companies, do your homework. So what is it that crypto does that traditional banks don't do?
I think it's important to understand, first off, that your money in the bank is not your money legally. It belongs to the bank.
Mm.
Okay. It's in your name, but like you have an IOU on it.
Yeah.
And 2, it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's so true.
Our banking system works on something called a fractional reserve banking, which what I just explained about how gold was like 100% backed by gold and now it's 0.
Yeah.
Now we have a fractional reserve banking, and once this is a crazy thing. Like the thing is, once you see these things, you can't unsee it. It's like, what do you mean the money's not there? Like now, if you deposit $1,000 in a bank, the bank legally, and this is what they do, they lend that $1,000 out 9 times.
Yeah.
They create. Yeah, so like it's an asset for them. Like it's a liability for you. Like they have, like they lend it out 9,000. Like they lend it 9 times.
9 times.
So it's not there. So the whole banking system, like that's what you've heard the phrase "run on the banks." You know, that's a thing. That's a phrase, because if everyone goes right now and tries to withdraw their money, the money's simply not there.
And the banks are the ones sitting down happy saying we're charging interest, and those separate 9 of those separate ones, each one has its own interest set up, and that's how the banks make money out of it.
Exactly. So
yeah.
So I mean, so with crypto, I can have it fully with me. I own my crypto, so it's fully my own responsibility, my own thing. Now that's a double-edged sword. And some people are not ready for that. I think we live in such a nerfed world where people just want to offload responsibility and like, oh, I want someone to blame. I don't want to take responsibility for my own thing. I'm not saying this like to bully people into that, but like it's just how we've been. It's not how we've been brought up. We're super comfortable, and like we just like there's a trust in institutions, and like they won't let that happen.
Yeah.
But you can trust that. I don't. I personally don't. Yeah.
I don't.
So I don't so most of my hat is like with me, and I trust it, and like I set up my own inheritance plans, etc. Should something happen to me, how it's gonna get passed on to my kids and my wife, etc. But that takes in this day and age, that's a radical self-responsibility. Like it's not a common thing, and you have to work your way up towards it. You have to, like, there's no shortcut to it. If you're hearing this for the first time and you like, don't feel bad, but because you need to actually just like do the work. There's no shortcuts on it. Like I'm speaking comfortably like this because I've been obsessed with this topic for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable with the level of responsibility that I've assumed on myself, but it took time. It wasn't like that.
Of course.
It took years of like studying, etc., understanding why this is less risky than that. And there's no shortcut for that, honestly.
I'm looking at my other screen and going a little bit deeper into the central, the Rothschild family owning the largest banks in the world.
Wonderful people.
Considering the fact that they really have this huge empire of financial. They own the central reserve bank in the world.
Yeah.
And when you look at countries that don't have these financial institutions in their country, like Iran and Venezuela, I can connect the dots in the political way into why they want to go, so that they can still take the power, money grab and whatnot. But I noticed after reading more about today's politics with Trump and his involvement with these players, the Rothschilds family, and again, like, this is where I want to hear how much do you know about. Can this decentralized Bitcoin powerhouse be eventually manipulated and then controlled and taken by these elites that can really... I can see what America's trying to do right now. They're trying to regulate it and to make some kind of interest out of Bitcoin, and they're going through this thing where that's probably another reason why I dropped a little bit. I don't know, like, there's so much confusion in terms of people wanting to take ownership of Bitcoin and blockchain, especially the elites. and they want to make money out of it and control it. But does Bitcoin have the power to say, nope, we can't, we're not involved with this type of stuff? Do you think do you think the Rothschild will have that power to take it, my point, or no?
Yeah, this is a very good question. And I'll tell you, like, the answer is like a bit nuanced. So they're trying to do that. It's happening.
It's happening.
Yes. But the way they do it is not through Bitcoin per se. The way they do it is by launching a Bitcoin ETF, a BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, and buying as much Bitcoin as they can. BlackRock already has 1 million Bitcoin.
Oh my God, I have a few Bitcoin investment. I have a few investment in BlackRock ETF.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I mean, investment purposes.
Yeah. So, but what they're trying to do, in my opinion, like, that's the biggest attack vector. If like institutions like BlackRock, which is, if you've done any deep dive on BlackRock, you'd understand that these are not
good
people that would align with your values, I would say. You know,
correct.
This is like just a multinational, you know, financial industrial complex, whatever you want to call it.
I hear you.
Yeah, like similar to the military industrial complex. That's what their goal is. So the risk to Bitcoin is if people don't buy Bitcoin and take it into self-custody. This is the biggest risk to Bitcoin. Because if you have it centralized with BlackRock and a few other ETFs, and then they'll be like, okay, you know, instead of, because you cannot withdraw your Bitcoin from BlackRock, you can't send it. Ultimately, remember, peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Yeah.
You cannot send your BlackRock and pay for coffee. You cannot send your BlackRock to your friend.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So what they'll start doing is like issuing you all these loans or something, so you can, like, you know, put your HAD as down payment or your Bitcoin, or you can borrow against your Bitcoin. You can borrow fiat. That's how you can maintain. That's how they can maintain their grip on creating money. You know, because Bitcoin, no one can create more of Bitcoin. That's it.
21 million.
21 million. That's it.
Yeah.
So what they do is they try to buy as much of it as possible. You know, and then when people can't, you know, enough people can access it, etc., then they try to. They're already trying to do it. You know, like where you use it as collateral for your loans. You know.
Yeah, that's collateral.
Yeah, and that's Whereas, so the way to counter that is just through Bitcoin in self-custody. This is a very important point. Bitcoin in self-custody will counteract that force, that centralizing force. Because Bitcoin in self-custody is a decentralizing force. Everyone becomes their own bank, essentially. If everyone has their own Bitcoin with them, then they can't stop it. Like, it's an unstoppable force. You can transact permissionlessly with any human being in the world. You can transfer value to anyone in the world instantly, like that, without asking anyone's permission.
That's crazy. I love this.
This is a hugely important and valuable thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we must not lose sight of that. You know, people always get excited about number go up. Okay, and yes, you want to diversify. We're used to buy ETFs, etc. Like, they don't go up. Like, and a lot of people I know are buying Bitcoin ETFs, etc. But like, it's fine. You had but like what you're missing, what you're forfeiting, is the freedom aspect of it. Like, it's actual freedom money. It's actual money that's like ungovernable. That's
you know, Zeid, I feel like after this conversation and hearing you out, you have encouraged me to no longer invest in ETFs for Bitcoin and crypto ETFs, considering the fact of the players behind it and how it's connecting it. And I'd rather just keep it within the stability of and the growth of Bitcoin itself. And I have more full possession and ownership to it. Because if I'm investing in ETFs like BlackRock, and I'm seeing the masks behind it and the disguise behind it, and what the purpose and their mission and objectives, it doesn't align with their moral values, I don't feel comfortable with that. But yeah, I mean, short term or whatever, it's going to give me some kind of return of investment. But then if you put it in Bitcoin will do the same as well. I mean,
and the one part is that now when you sell your BlackRock, you're going to get taxed on it.
Well, unless you opened it on a TFSA, a tax-free savings account, which is how I mean. But yeah, you're right. You're right. You'll get taxed on that for sure. That's a good point. That's a good point. Talking about taxes and how it also works, I know in certain countries, like where you are in UAE, if you were to hold crypto and you deposit into your bank or whatnot, you don't get taxed on you don't pay capital gains, do you?
No, there's no capital gains tax, and there's no income tax.
That's fantastic. Unlike here in Canada, you know, I'm trying. You know, it's not easy here. It's we're getting taxed pretty much on everything, man. It sucks. But there is a misconception when it comes to Bitcoin, and I want to ask you, what do you think is the biggest misconception about Bitcoin that you wish people would understand?
It's not, like I think Bitcoin's biggest problem is that it's called crypto. It's called cryptocurrency because, like, cryptocurrency, you know, you have Dogecoin, you have Fartcoin, you have Pepe.
Yeah.
You know, you have all these things.
You have Donald Trump.
You have DJT.
Oh, DJT.
And these are just fundamentally not the same. You know, like these are not the same. I'm not saying like I believe in, like, you know, you're free to do whatever you want. Anyone's free to. I'm not saying these things shouldn't exist. You know, I'm just saying because, like, I work for a company also that, like, it's an exchange.
Yeah.
We sell, you know, so you can buy Bitcoin and everything else.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's why it's but they're not the same. They're not, you know, like, so I think I would urge everyone to just, like, try and understand Bitcoin more, because I think it's akin to, like, the invention of fire or the wheel for humankind, especially as we go into the digital age. Open software, permissionless money that no one can debase, that preserves your time and energy. It's an extremely important invention.
Of course.
That's being drowned out by the noise of crypto and the scams of it and all the stuff. Because there's a lot of scams. Like, I'll be honest with in the crypto world, there's a lot of disingenuous people who are coming in to make a quick buck and out. You know,
true.
Like, people think that, you know, like, I think, and they're playing the same games as the system. Like, they're not.
That's very true.
They're not trying to solve the fiat problem issue. They're trying to be a more efficient fiat, you know. But you know, like, you want to, like fiat just could not exist at all. Like, it's sucking. It's an extractive system. It's a system that's extracting value from the whole world.
I have,
because you work for money. You work for money, and they just create it. They just print it.
I have a feeling we're approaching it's the rise and fall of the fiat. I feel like we're going to experience within our time the fall of the fiat, which is going through that downhill with the eruption and growth of crypto.
Inshallah, man.
I hope so too. But then when you look at countries that already embrace crypto the right way and use it the right way, like, I'm having conversations with realtors and developers in UAE while I'm here in Vancouver, conversing with them and saying, hey, you know, you don't need to use the US dollar anymore to purchase this property. You can do it now with Bitcoin. We accept Bitcoin as a payment.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, fantastic. So the use and the medium of exchange, as you mentioned, in certain places now it's acceptable to allow Bitcoin as that use. And should all these other countries start to, work around it, which one was the other country in Latin America that's now fully, is El Salvador? I'm not sure.
El Salvador. Yeah, El Salvador.
It's fantastic.
That's a fascinating country. It's fascinating. Like, this guy came in, like, I think 5 years ago or something, and it was the murder capital of the world. Completely lawless, like, ruled by gangs.
Yeah.
Like, extremely unsafe place to live.
Yeah.
This guy came in, was like, we're gonna, took it to him, jailed all of them, and like, definitely by force, and then was like, yeah, we're adopting Bitcoin, and like, they're the fourth or fifth largest Bitcoin holder in the world in terms of, like,
in the world
as a country, and I think, and he told the IMF to fuck off. Now he still has to play ball. He was, like, smart about it, so he did, like, the IMF was like, they were gonna, like,
IMF,
International Monetary Fund and the
Ah,
World Bank These are like the global. Think of them as like global loan sharks. You know, there's
ah,
a if anyone's interested, there's a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
mm.
This is like filled with stories of how they subjugate the whole entire developed world through loans that can never be repaid, and the goal of the loan is to never be repaid anyways.
Oh my
And it's
God.
just
I feel like I'm stuck
and
in that situation with loans not being able to pay back.
and it's just yeah, and it's just about to gain influence in those countries, including our countries, like
Yeah.
including every country, every developed country in the world.
Mhm.
But yeah, like what he's like, it's a fascinating success story.
It is, and
Yeah.
they're already, they don't have to rely on the U.S. dollar, and I feel like we are going through this transitional period, and of course, we might be a little bit long away to reach it, but we are so. How much have we done in the past to up to where we are today? Like there's been so much growth in crypto and Bitcoin since it first launched. Like I remember back when it was just in the $2,000-3,000 ranges, right? And
Hmm.
here we are sitting. So I feel it's great, and I'm excited to see how it goes. On a topic not related to crypto, but more towards you as a man, as a father, as a family man, considering the fact that we live in a world that's very chaotic. There's lots of noise and distractions, and there's things that you just can't control. So my question, another question, and it's more personal, I guess you can say, in terms of what are the things that are your daily rituals that keeps you mentally strong through these tough times?
Fuck, man, it's like especially the past 2 weeks
It's crazy.
was so insane. Was so insane. Like the I mean, I've always known some of these things, but I didn't believe some of it. Like the whole, like we're talking now like 2 weeks after like the Epstein files
Yeah.
were released. Like what the fuck?
It's madness, bro. It's a soap opera. It's a
And
sitcom.
like like we used to have conspiracy theories. We don't. They're all true.
They're all
like-
true.
They're all true.
It's
So, and it's just so like I definitely got lost in that for a while.
Yeah.
And then we're still fresh off that. But
sorry, but to add also to that, what you're talking about, then you look at how they're doing things in the Middle East, like for example, in Gaza. And I'm not going to go into the political aspect of the war.
yeah.
I'm talking about the development of what they want to do in Gaza, considering the fact that there is some ties, and I don't know if you've done a little bit of research on this, but you will probably need to know more than me, considering the fact that the developers are incorporating a tokenized system in there. I don't know if you've heard of it. They're trying to set up a tokenized system where it's related to crypto.
Yeah. They're just just using buzzwords, and they just want to develop the area.
They want to build hype and get investors.
They want to like just full on ethnic cleansing. Let's remove those people that are out of the way, and like let's build nice hotels and stuff. And that whole what's been happening in Gaza live streamed for the whole world to see. It's opening people's eyes, which is nice. I think now it's a very, like, I think even though like governments are for the most part still, especially like the Western governments, are still with, like, they support that state, but like the people definitely don't. The people, like, everywhere you go, you can feel the sentiment of like the people, the masses. Like you see what's going on. Some of them feel helpless. But you feel it, like because it's visceral.
Can't unsee. The level of awareness, man, is insane. It's been exposed too much now for you to unsee it.
Yeah, exactly.
But Zeid, I mean, you're such a smart guy, and my point is that in a question like this, keeping you mentally strong despite all of the manipulation, the power, the greed, everything that has been told to us is a lie. Like when you look at more about what's been shared with us in terms of information, I'm sorry, man, but even when I go deep into the education system and I look in the American and Canadian education system, like, holy shit,
the whole thing is fucked. So like I'm gonna answer your question because it's also like it's really good questions, by the way. Yeah, this is been an excellent talk, honestly.
Nice,
I think you have to be very careful of where we put our energy, and attention, because this is like the biggest currency we have now. This is what they're monetizing, our attention. So all these social media algorithms that just amplify hate and outrage and like rage baiting and all that, like if you're spending a lot of time on that, which I have the past 2 weeks, full disclosure,
Same.
but like it's a phase, and I'm working myself out of it. I just go back to the basics, go back to simplify, what is the highest emotion, what is the best version of myself, is when I'm fully knowing how to exist and love myself and the people around me. And I do that. The best version of me is when I'm relaxed, when I'm spending time with my family, with my loved ones, with my kids, spending time with myself, doing yoga, meditating, exercising, trying to be of service to others, trying to help the people around me, trying to be like a good father, a good husband, a good son, just a good neighbor, like just being a good person, like trying to focus on that, and like in this mundane tasks of like little, like those, there's the very basic things in life. And I think that's how you not like stop the noise, but like that's how you create your own reality, because ultimately like the reality is a reflection of our perception, like it's not
Absolutely.
it's not an objective thing, it's fully subjective. Reality is fully subjective, so you can't just be like, oh, it's all fucked and it's all fucked. You can't, that's not an attitude, that's not a way to live, because there's always been that. We're just more aware of it now. It's all in your face now. There's always been evil in the world.
That's true.
We've never not had evil. We've always had like despicable human beings in the world. It's so in our face now.
It's too much.
And so you have to like be aware of it, but like don't let it consume you. Like go back.
I try to let it be a reminder to who I am in terms of how I was raised and my upbringing with my family and my parents, to remind me that I speak the language of love. I speak the language of compassion and peace, even to my enemies. Like I need to one thing I remember my father always telling me, and I love that about my dad, is that as a Palestinian and as a human, as a human, you need to speak the language of love. And as in a world where there's so much bad energy and evilness, like you said, sometimes there has to be an individual out there that needs to shine light and remind people, because those people that are doing all these evil things, I guess, are so bottled in that they probably don't realize how bad they are doing or how bad they're in, that they need someone like people like you and myself, people that carry with pride goodness, so that they can speak with full care, and who knows, maybe it helps shift their views and behaviors to become better. Because I've experienced quite a few of those encounters where I'm suffering from my own mental issues and my own mental challenges, considering what's going on around me. And then if I'm going to be having conversations with people that are strangers, whether I'm working out or I'm here just out and about, and they come off, in a wrong approach, my ability to be able to stand firm and to tell myself, you know what, there's so much badness going on, evilness, I cannot get sucked into this. I have to, maybe I'm being tested, maybe you're being tested in terms of how you're going to respond to that. And I'm a soldier of God, bro. Like I've always told myself, like I speak the language of I have faith. And I might not be like in a religious aspect, very spiritual, and I think that's an obligation that we have to do while we're seeing all of these things, especially in the we're adults now, and we have to prepare our future children. Like our children we need to. I guess my point that I'm trying to say is that we have to lead with that example. You know what I mean? And it's fantastic how you express it, man, because I can relate in so many ways. So what keeps you motivated? Like, what are the days that Zeid does that I understand? You call it out, you see it, but like you know who you are, and what are the type of things that you do to motivate yourself when nothing seems to be working for you, even for work? Like shit, you're doing all these projects, you're doing everything, it's not working. How do you keep yourself motivated when nothing is working right?
I try to orient my whole life around things that I'm passionate about. So like there's times where like definitely there's tough days, always. Everyone has them. But like sometimes like you just have to look back and see how far you've come. Because
Like that.
it's a step by step stuff. There's always something that you want to improve. There's always something that in your life that's not quite where you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's completely normal. But if you look back at yourself 5 years ago and where you were then and where you are now, are you in better shape? Is your career in a better place? Most of the time, the answer is yes.
Correct.
And if it's not, then you need to do something different. But for me, alhamdulillah, it is. Like I'm working in like fields that I enjoy. I'm doing a lot of creative work, etc. So I try to keep things in perspective. It doesn't always work, but definitely I think for me the most important thing is to be as present as I can. And that's where, because like if I'm not motivated or if I'm upset, it's because I'm either anxious about something that hasn't happened or depressed or upset about something that already happened and I can't do anything. So I'm not in the present. I'm living in the future or in the past. And if I just try to, and this sounds so simple, but it's not easy, and that's fine. That's why, for example, yoga is called a practice. It's not, you don't just do yoga, like you practice yoga because you're gonna oscillate. You're gonna be here, and you're gonna be in the future and the past. You're gonna have this moment. So you try to be as present as possible. And when you're present, then there's nothing, you can't be worried. Like if you're actually present, you're just in the moment. You're fully engaged. Like I try to be that with my kids. I'm trying to make sure that I'm just playing with them. Like my 3-year-old just wants to play, for example.
Yeah.
And if I'm just like with him, just playing, like I can't be upset. I can't be unmotivated. It's just
my dogs that I spend time with are the perfect example of that reminder to remind me of what you just said about being mindful and present at the moment, because they don't know what goes past that as animals. The dogs specifically dogs, they live in the moment. Like if I take my dog out for a walk, for them they don't go past, they don't know what's beyond that walk. So that present moment of them. Now I'm not taking him out for a walk, he's taking me out for a walk. And now when I go out and I walk and I really just go through the same spots that I always go to, that moment of realizing the present of where I am is the ultimate level of my Zen moment, my peace. But I can't tell you how much it helps me a lot to avoid what you just said, being anxious and worried about the future and the past. And I thank you so much for saying what you just said right now about focusing on the present moment. And using examples like yoga and whatnot. I need my friends and the people in my community, my audience, to hear that, because the ones that suffer from depression and anxiety and their past PTSD, like the best message that you can give is what you just said right now, is practicing mindfulness and learning how to be present in the moment. And all the money in the world is not going to go down with you when you die, man. Like, for who cares? I get it. Financial security is important for everybody, but your happiness and your mental health is even more valuable than that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely awesome, man. Well, it wasn't. Yeah. So now I have like 2 more questions for you, Zeid, and then I'm going to let you go because I know your time, man. We're doing an hour here. It's awesome.
I'm good, man. I'm loving this.
I'm loving it, man. I'm learning a lot from you, and I'm so happy to hear you out. But going back to Bitcoin, okay, I have another question here for you. You see, we're shifting gears between personal and professional, but looking ahead, what is the one thing that is exciting you about Bitcoin's future? Are we gonna hit 1 million or what, man? Come on!
Oh yeah, like for sure, we're gonna hit 1 million and more. I don't know when. I I don't know what the timeline is for that, but we'll definitely hit that. But what excites me more is defunding the psychopaths that run the world. Like this war machine needs to end, bro. Like this, at least you need to have like a cost for war. Like, we've lived in a century where the US hasn't even paid for any of its own wars. They just have debt. Like their future generations are going to pay for it, So like at least, defund these crazy psychopaths that are just like running around like headless chicken, and everyone doesn't have, like, it's a system that's just so corrupt. And because the money is corrupt, it distorts so much value. When someone can just print money and create it, like when nations can go to war forever and not pay for it, like that's what empires before, at least you had like a check, like, okay, like at some point, like do you have the gold to go to war? If you don't go to war. So at least that would be nice. That's, I think, the most exciting thing, to like at least separate the printing, the money creation aspect from the state. Or these entities that just are using it for really destructive purposes. Like war just destroys stuff, doesn't build anything, and we're far
to another
1.5 trillion now this year, just for 1 year, like, and that's all going to be used for destructive purposes.
Foreign affairs, foreign war.
And it's very destructive. It's very, like, instead of putting it in, like, we're remarkable human beings. We have so much potential. If that energy is directed towards something that's constructive, instead of something that's destructive, it's like we can be in a much better state with all the technology that's going on, with all this amazing tools that we have. But like, instead we're choosing to just destroy each other and spend so much time and energy dividing and destroying stuff. So like, I think that's what excites me the most about Bitcoin. And when you separate that, at least everything has a cost. Sure, you want to go to war, fine, it's going to cost you a lot. Wouldn't it just be better? Because now we're in a way, like, fiat makes war profitable. Like, that's the thing. Like, because they print money and they give it to these private companies who make the weapons to go to war, the military-industrial complex. This is like, it's not like I'm not talking like a conspiracy theory. And if someone's listening here that hasn't heard that, like, this is like, just follow the money. This is how things work.
It's working.
This is how things work. So war has become a profitable thing. It shouldn't be. War should be expensive.
Yeah, man.
So if it's expensive, at least you'll have you'll do a double take. Like, what? Instead of bombing this country, how about we just agree to open a business together? How about that?
They abused the system, man. They abused it big time. They that's the thing. It's like, we'll just print more money, and we'll print more money, and because we know we can print more money, then let's go ahead and just abuse it and just do what we want. But with Bitcoin and crypto, the fact that it's scarce, I get it, but the use of it can still be used for the wrong reasons, honestly.
Absolutely, but it will just be costly. It won't be a profitable thing. Because you're not creating value when you go to war. You're destroying value.
Yeah, man.
You're destroying buildings, countries, infrastructure, etc. Whereas the other stuff, like, okay, so you'll still have bad people. I'm not saying it'll eliminate bad people. I'm just saying that it'll create an incentive to not, and it will limit that destructive behavior.
So I get that point about the way that hoping that pedophiles and the crazy people are, they're not the ones that are going to be using, I guess, crypto and just push them all out. I get cleaning. Cleaning is important, but in terms of the future of how individuals like you and myself that will be using Bitcoin and crypto as a means of exchange, do you think that the world will eventually move forward to a direction where, hey, you know what, I can now just walk into a supermarket, and rather than having, let's say, US dollar or Canadian dollars, now I can comfortably pay in the supermarket with my crypto wallet?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to reach to that stage in the future?
Yeah. It will take time, because money goes through like an adoption cycle. Whereas first, it's a store of value, as capital shifts from like other currencies towards it. So it's going to run up in price a lot. That's why, like, I mean, on average, Bitcoin has gone up since 2011, since it had a price.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gone up like on average 160% per year. Some years more, some years less, some years down, etc. But on average, I'm saying 2011 to 2025. That's that. Like, so if you had bought it then, like, it's 160% compounded, which is a crazy amount. It's like thousands of percent total. So it'll go through that as a store of value, establish itself as a store of value, and then once it has enough mass adoption, goes through like what's in technology called the S adoption curve, where like a lot of people adopt it, and like now the majority of people hold it, its value would stabilize a little bit, and it won't become as fluctuating because like most people, there's no more new people coming into it. So like then it'll become what's called a unit of accounts. Like people start using it as like they'll use it for payments, etc., because it's like it's holding its value. It's no longer fluctuating, having these crazy fluctuations now. So it'll take time.
If it's going to be taking time like that, and I get it, we're going to reach to that stage hopefully and everything, but how comfortable do you see Bitcoin? Well, not how comfortable. How can we educate more our community? I know that in UAE there's a more acceptance to crypto, and the fact that it's more open, and you have Binance head office there, and you have all these other exchange platforms. Maybe the company that you're working for. Tell me a little bit about the company you worked for. I mean, it's an exchange. Maybe people that are listening would be happy to consider your platform.
Yeah, I work for a company called OKX. It's a crypto exchange like Binance. Like Binance is the biggest in the world. Yeah. We're probably like, depending on which market, we're anywhere from 6th to 3rd, 4th, depending on which the market. So it's a big company. It's been around since 2017.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so what was the question?
Yeah, like how do we educate our community?
Yeah, I think continue creating content like this. These conversations I think help, but ultimately it'll go back to like going to my point of like radical self-responsibility. Like no one's coming to save you. You need to save yourself. Like you need to put in the work. Read a book about Bitcoin. Start with like a short book. There's like plenty of good options. Like there's the Bitcoin Standard, which is a big one. There's a book that I recently got for my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, because they're like looking to like start getting into it, and they're like they have too many questions, and I always sit and talk to them about it. And I saw this book, and I'll recommend it now just because it's a good intro book. It's by Bitcoin for Everyone. It's called
Bitcoin for Everyone. I'll check it out.
Bitcoin is for everyone. It should be like an easy read. I haven't read it, but I just know I know she has like the author has a podcast, and she explains stuff really well. She's a very good speaker. She was a journalist. And like she wrote like, let me just double check the name.
I have to look it up. These books help a lot educating. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, Bitcoin is for Everyone by Natalie Brunell.
Bitcoin is for everyone.
Yeah, Bitcoin is for everyone. Yeah, and this one should be an easy read. Check it out. But yeah, there's videos. There's so many people. Like there's a book called Broken Money by Lynn Alden.
Okay,
excellent book. Excellent book. And there's a YouTube video that's a 40-minute summary of that book. Also great, like with animations and everything.
I might actually just do that. I'm gonna have my workout, and I'm gonna listen to that later today for sure.
Yeah, Broken Money is a great book by Lynn Alden. Yeah. So but ultimately, you can lead a horse to water, but
Yeah, they have to do it themselves. You need to do your homework. I do believe we have the responsibility to learn, and I like to put always in my week about I don't know how many hours of just deep dive learning. With YouTube is the best library you can ask.
Absolutely.
For.
Yeah,
All of
absolutely.
my creativity is thanks to what I do here, and people need to take advantage of that. I think it's important. So, Mr. Zebat, I have one more question for you, my friend, and then we're going to wrap this up. And this one, it's more about finally, with all of your success, it's a matter of you giving advice. And I know you gave advice about how to handle things here and there, but when someone's trying to figure out what to do in their profession and life, but not about just getting out of problems, but I have a lot of people that I talk to in my community, a lot of people in my audience as well. I do one-on-one coaching, and the same feedback that I get is in the professional field, they struggle to understand or figure out what it is that they're striving to become. So, what advice would you give to someone who is still trying to figure out their profession field? I don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, that's so tough, man. It's tough. I'll tell you what I did, and I know my experience might help someone. I went to so in 2014. I was working in management consulting. I was in investment banking before. Hated it, fucking hated it. Disgusting. Like just like soulless. Nothing job.
Yeah.
And in 2014, I wanted to I was getting into yoga a lot, and I was getting into surfing, and I just searched for yoga and surfing retreat Bali on Google, and I got a few hits, and I got this one website, by far the worst looking website. It looked like an HTML website from the 90s. But the story of this guy was that he was a leukemia survivor, and he started surfing really helped him, and yoga really helped him in his recovery journey. And now he's doing these retreats for people, and I'm like, I need to go. This guy seems like an awesome guy. So I went on this retreat thinking, okay, it's just going to be yoga and surfing all day, which it was. But he had this book. So he was like a life coach also. So he had this booklet where every day we had these writing, these journaling questions. So in the morning you'd wake up and you journal a little bit, ask you a little question, and slowly throughout the whole week, you build up towards having this map of what you care about, what your values, matching, in coaching you the values, what your values are, what you things like that. You do all this exercise, and he takes them through you very without you noticing. You're just journaling every day.
Yeah.
And then the last day you start putting it all together, and then all of a sudden I had a map. I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. And the guy is called Rick Cowley. He's an awesome guy. I'll send you the link for his website if you want to share it. Awesome guy, just one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. And after that whole thing, because we have so many things that we want to do, and they're half-baked ideas, and they're so varied, there's things that you want to do at work, there's things you want to do for your health, there's things you want to do for adventure, there's so many different things. But he does it in a way where at the end you have this map of what's the most important, what should you do next, right away, of all the things that you have. So it organized all these desires and things that I want, and shed light on things that I haven't been doing. One of the questions was in that thing was what have you created? And I had nothing. I hadn't created anything. I didn't know how to answer it. I'm but I always wanted to see myself as a creative person. I thought I had it in me, but I never had that. So anyways, that was one of the questions there. So very quickly, after that, I'm like, okay, the next move is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go to an ashram in India. I need to the first things first, I need to dive into yoga, fix my spiritual side, because that's the most important. So it became an easy choice. And I wasn't thinking about changing jobs or whatever. So I left my job, and I was 29 at the time, so still not married or anything, and went to India for what I thought was going to be a month, ended up being 6 months.
Wow.
The most important 6 months of my life.
That must have been your awakening call right there. You
absolutely. It was an amazing experience.
Wow.
And then I came back I was teaching yoga for a while in Dubai, just
Right.
hopping
Yeah.
around. And then
You enjoy it. It's fun, and
yeah,
you're helping people become better. What a great thing to do.
yeah. And then I did some life coaching, became like a life coach. Like, I could probably, little yoga and life coach seems like
Good
working with
combo.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then slowly things started happening. Like as you orient yourself more, as you become more true to yourself, just
Mm,
opportunities started opening up for me. Like
I
things started
love
just
that.
happening that because you put yourself in these positions, right? That I never foresaw. I wouldn't tell you I foresaw like 3 steps ahead. No, I didn't see any of that. But just because I started walking the path, which I thought was my path, then opportunities started to reveal themselves.
That's
And
so
then
so amazing.
and then eventually started a friend came to me like, hey, do you want to start a podcast like this, you like NBA, we used to play basketball all the time.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
like,
You got
yeah,
a
you
you
want
got
to
an
start,
NBA podcast?
you have an NBA podcast in Arabic. It's like the biggest podcast
Oh,
in the Arab
dude,
world.
bro, you have to invite me in one of them. I follow everything. All Star Week is next week, man.
Yeah, man. So
I'd love to join these conversations with you.
yeah, so we started this podcast. So now and
Nice.
then after I started, I'm like, oh shit, I remembered that question from that retreat. Well, have you created anything? And I said no. And now I have been like, this is like 50 episodes in. Now we're like 500 episodes in. I'm like,
Whoa. I gotta
yeah,
look
it's the number one sports podcast in the
in,
Arab world.
shut.
It's
What?
in Arab. It's in
It's in
Arabic.
Arabic. Maybe because I don't know. Like I haven't caught
Yeah,
it
yeah,
because that's not where I searched for. But good on you, man. Well
yeah.
done.
Man, I'll tell you. So then all of a sudden, like I'm creating that. Okay, and then from that, I went to my friend launched a cryptocurrency company in Dubai. So I went to him. I'm like, hey man, this is pretty cool, but like you should market it. You need to do more content marketing. And at the time, I was already into Bitcoin and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you should launch like a podcast and like do a newsletter, things like that. And
Yeah.
he's
Why
like,
don't you do it?
why don't you do it? And that's how I started working in crypto.
Good
You know?
job, man.
And now my whole work is creative. Like I'm the content director for this OKX, like this company I'm working for. So
Yeah.
all my whole work is creating content now and coming up with ideas and stuff. So
I love that. I love that.
you know,
I love that. Thank you also for sharing what I feel like most of the people are striving to do the same things as you in terms of taking those steps and building creativity, but hurdles, backfires, rejection,
mm,
um, procrastination, like in the back of your mind what you are capable of doing, and the power of creation is a beautiful thing. But every time you want to apply the sources or put the components together and you initiate, the results, number one, might not be turning into your expectations. I feel like sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, and then when you do end up completing it, the result from the people's feedback is poor. To be honest with you, as I'm a human, I'm not perfect. We're always learning, and I come across these examples a lot in my life. Yes, I put aside the amazing, great ones. The ones that are great, I'm not talking about that. There's been a lot of accomplishments. There's been a lot of things, obviously, but it's the moment when you're creating and you're doing, but those things that you're putting your heart and soul in does not turn out the way that you want it.
mm,
How do you? What do you do in that stage when
mm.
you when you want it, when in your heart your passion says this is my calling, but what the fuck, man, it's not taking
Yeah,
me anywhere, it's not serving
yeah.
itself.
It's funny because you learn a lot more from your failures than your success. You know, it sucks, right? Like when you're success, like I'm the shit. Like
That's
bah,
so true.
you know. But real growth happens when you fail.
Yeah, bro.
Like you learn a lot from your failures.
Yeah.
And embrace that. Like embrace the failure.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed. Like don't feel shame. Like
Yeah.
don't put yourself down. Like be gentle with yourself. Love yourself. Like okay, it's okay to fail. It's
Yeah,
okay to but keep trying
Keep
because
trying.
you learn more. And look, one day you won't fail. You know. But you should fail. If you haven't failed, you're not trying
Succeeding.
new things.
I'm trying my best to build my channel here, and there has been so many trial and error in terms of editing, production, this and that, and I was listening to one of the YouTube influencers that when they first started, he said something that was very interesting and similar to what you're saying. He said that every day, as long as you're able to improve what you're doing with just 1%, and you can continue doing it, you'll be surprised that where you were and where you are has made a huge difference in terms of the results. So try not to be so hard on yourself, like what you said. And it's those words sit very well with me, and that's something I carry with me. And I'm so happy, bro, that actually, Zed, I'm actually very grateful, because what you just shared right now, it's not just your insights today, but for your friendship and for always lighting the path ahead. I have to say that you have a rare gift. You do. You have a rare gift for turning complexities into things that are more clear. And today was a brilliant example. Today was a brilliant example to how it is that you're able to express things similar to how I express it in my own words, but in different ways. And I really thank you. I thank you truly. And of course, the audience that are listening, I want you guys, to enjoy this conversation that we had, and learn from crypto and learn from investments. Be careful, most importantly. And yeah, man. Zed, any final words? I want to wrap this up.
No, man. Thanks so much for having me. This was a really nice conversation.
I really enjoyed it too. It has been an honor, yeah. Zed, brother. Thank you. And to everyone, until next time, I'm going to upload this video soon. So I hope you guys all enjoy it.
All right. Cheers, man.